And we'll kick off. We got Tachyon here, going to talk about the digitalization of music. And I think this is a great topic because it really has changed everything in the sense like you said you've got your talking points and we'll roll with what you've got to begin with. But I want to get into like the Napster days and downloading because I remember that vividly. Like that was a big deal when that happened. So, but go ahead, man. Go ahead. Kick us off.
Really, I guess I feel like the best way to bring this up is if you could just kind of talk about how you used to consume music, like back then. Because think about it this way: there are people that are going to be watching this that will have no idea what Napster is.
Oh yeah,
right? Even then.
Yeah.
So even before that, like, how do you find a band that you like? You know, back, I don't know, 20 years ago, even further than that.
94, when I was a freshman in high school in 1994, it was a Friday, and my buddy comes up to me. He's like, dude, you got to listen to this album. You got to listen to this album. I'm like, what are you talking about? Okay. And he hands me this CD, and it's got a black cover with this red ribcage looking thing. And the album was Tool, Undertow. I'd never heard Tool before. And I'm like, what is this? On the back of the album, there's a pig, this big pig, and all the track names are shaved into the side of the pig. So it's just fucking bizarre, right? And he's like, oh no, it's that one group. You know, they had a song on the radio called Sober, and that was like their big hit at the time. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. He's like, yeah, man, check it out. But you gotta bring it back Monday. You gotta promise to bring it back Monday. And I remember going home and listening to the album and just loving it. And it was an experience for me where I was like, this is what I've been looking for without realizing I was looking for it. But that was how you shared music back then. You literally fucking swapped CDs, burned copies of CDs. People were handing out legit mixtapes, like tapes, you know. When I was in high school, it was transitioning to CDs more so. But not everybody, again, this is something that's weird too. Back then, not everybody had a computer at home. Like if you were the dude that can burn CDs, you could charge people $5 to make a mix CD and they would pay you the money just for you to burn a copy and bring it to school the next day or whatever. Like that was a big thing. I remember that.
Wow. Man. Yeah, I mean, I grew up at, I feel like the end of the CD era before everything went online.
Yeah.
So I remember like my dad has like box of CDs and everything, and I could like flip through it. But even just the concept of a CD store, and when my dad was telling me that you just walk into a store and if you think you like a song, you can like put these trial headphones on. Like
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy how I guess putting everything on the internet changed how to find music in general.
Big time. I remember too, like I used to ask to borrow CDs from people because for a while I was so happy. I had a boombox stereo thing or whatever, but it played a CD and it had 2 tape decks. So I could either record, so if I wanted to make my own mixtape, I could either record from tape to tape, or I could borrow a CD from somebody and I could record that track and make my own mixtape, or I could just record the whole album if I wanted to. And it was like, I remember being so excited, and I would fucking sit in my room for hours because when it's recording in that way, you have to play the song. It's not like you go, oh, I want to copy this track. Like, no, you press record on the tape player, then you press play on the CD player, so it starts playing, so the tape has something to record, and you have to sit there with it the whole time. And so however long your tape is, if it's an hour or whatever, that's how long it took to make that tape.
Wow. I feel like tapes in general, I feel like have a lot of issues that come with it. Now, obviously in hindsight, I live in the 21st century, right? I've never had to deal with it, but I feel like there's a lot that can go wrong with a tape.
There is. And another story on top of that, before me and my dad, he used to do the same thing when he was younger, but he had to do it. He had it even worse because he could only get his music from the radio. So he would sit there with the tape ready, waiting for a specific song to come on because he wanted that to be next in his order of mix. Sometimes for hours. And then sometimes he even told me sometimes that song would come on, but the DJ would be talking during the intro, during the music portion, so he couldn't record it because he didn't want the fucking DJ on there.
Oh, man.
It's crazy. It's really crazy to think about.
Yeah, definitely. And it's so easy now. Now you can just find whatever you want, even if you don't know what you want. You can just find a guess of what you're feeling, and you'll
Yeah.
find something for it.
Well, they'll even put, you know, like, oh, you like this? Well, check out this, this, and this. Let this,
Yeah.
this, which is really cool. I really like that feature.
Yeah, and yeah, you're right. Like all the recommendations that all these algorithms give, I feel like are effective enough. I find a lot of stuff that is similar to the things I listen to.
Yeah.
Cool. You mentioned Napster, I think, right?
Yeah.
I only know LimeWires because my sister used it a bunch. And one of the issues is all the music that she used to download was never it. Like, it was always, like, something, or, like, there's an ad in the middle of it. So, if you could kind of share your experiences, because I have very few, but, like, what was that like? Like, downloading stuff and burning it, or... It was
so
right?
yeah, when I got to that point, I was a little bit older. I was probably, I don't know, 19 or 20. So it was right around 2000, the year 2000. And I remember I was in the military at the time, but I wasn't deployed yet. I was still, you know, training and stuff. And so I had enough money to buy a computer. So I had my computer, which is fucking amazing. And yeah, the downloading stuff was really getting, and I was on base. So I had an internet connection, which I did not used to have before, which was another thing. But it was still dial up. I remember vividly being so excited when the time to download the song was actually shorter than it took to play the song. So like, say the song was 4.5 minutes. I downloaded it in like 4 minutes and 12 seconds. And I was like, it's happened. I can now download it faster than I can listen to it. And it was like finding an infinite source of energy or something like that. Like, that's it. I can never catch up now. I'll always have more music than I can hear because I can download it faster than I can listen to it. And I remember just being so fucking beside myself.
You're operating a net profit there.
I mean, it's so funny to think about and go back, because I probably sound so weird to everybody else now, but yeah, I remember that. And then it's like, oh my God, every song is now available, but you had to know of it. You couldn't, you had to like search it and find it. And like you're saying, there was always these like weird versions or fucked up versions, or like maybe there was a virus, or like there's all these hurdles you had to deal with. But if you could if you knew the name of the song and you could find that song and download it, then you had it on your computer. So then it was all about slowly acquiring this library of singles. And then if you got really good, you started going to the CD store and like writing down the track list, or go on the internet and write down the track list of the whole album. And then you start trying to download the whole album. And
oh, wow.
Oh my God, man.
So yeah, it's the way that I guess technology has improved, that we can enjoy all these things at an instant. And definitely, I think it's for the better, right? There's more music to listen to.
Yeah.
There's more sounds to listen to. And I feel like, and this is the segue into JPEGMAFIA, that he is an artist that can kind of only exist within the time frame that we live in. And granted, that can be said about a lot of people.
Yeah, sure.
But I do think that his sound kind of reflects that. He takes a lot of inspiration from a lot of digital culture, whether it's, like video games or kind of early 2000s internet, or naming his songs after certain internet trends and stuff, which in a way it's tongue-in-cheek, and I feel like it's very appealing to me. So I find that very fascinating. So yeah, I guess that's the segue if we want to start talking about Peggy. Is there anything else you think that's very neat about how we used to listen to music? That would be, if someone who never go on.
Well, I was just gonna say, you're telling those stories, because it's not like I think about that all the time. I remember it, but I don't just sit around thinking about it. Telling those stories and kind of recalling that and remembering that, I think I figured out why it's so easy for me to sit down and do album reactions like I do, because I used to just do that shit all the time on my own in my room. I would just spend hours making these mixes and copying CDs onto tapes and doing it in the right order. I remember having CDs all over the floor around me, and I would arrange the CDs in orders. Like, okay, I'm going to do the track from this album and then this album and this. I mean, I was just hours. And it's really funny for me to think about that now, having no idea back then what it might eventually turn into. And now sitting here today, looking back and going, huh, well, there you go.
Yeah, and I guess one more thing I will add too. I also think that as everything got more digital and social, it's a lot easier to find big, like-minded people that love the same stuff that you do.
Oh, yeah.
Like, in real life, I'm the only person that gushes about JPEG Mafia, and all my friends kind of get over it.
Really?
But there's a lot of people online that, you know, love them and is willing to talk about it. I'm sure that's like with everything else. Yeah, but at least for the people that I know, there's people that like him, but there's no one that likes him like me, you know?
Right. I think Peggy's amazing. I think he's amazing. Yeah. I mean, I haven't heard LP yet. I haven't heard his EPs, but just from Veteran and Cornballs, man. And what I like about Cornballs too is he keeps his same style, but it's like he's just a little bit more relaxed. He's having a little bit more fun with it. You know, he's a little bit more comfortable maybe. I don't know exactly what it is, but
yeah,
he
definitely.
I don't. Are you familiar with Aphex Twin? Did you ever listen to Aphex Twin?
In fact, I wasn't familiar with them as much as I should be, but I did listen to them because I know that you keep recommending Aphex Twin.
Yeah.
So I did a little bit of my homework, and I just kind of put the top songs on Spotify. I don't think I can recall the names.
No, they're impossible to remember. Yeah.
The sound is good. I really like it. It's like Peggy, very unique, and I feel, you know, it'd be nice to. That definitely is something I am itching into getting into.
The similarity that exists there between JPEG and Aphex Twin, I have to assume that JPEG is a fan of Aphex Twin. I would honestly be shocked if he had never heard him before. But the similarity that exists there, it's just this organized chaos, these layers and layers and layers that seem like they don't make any sense, but then they do make sense, and it does work. And when you kind of listen casually, it sounds like it's just a bunch of noise, but when you pay attention, like, no, there's the beat. I can hear the beat, and it's just, I cannot comprehend the kind of mind that puts that stuff together. It's extremely fascinating to me.
Yeah, you're right. Peggy definitely like takes you on this journey, right, of like his mindset through the sounds that he's making. But it's very coherent. I definitely know what he's trying to do. And I play along. I buy in, and every time he just blows me away into like, oh, you can combine that. That like is nice to listen to, you know?
Yeah.
And I do think that's like a very appealing trait that he has. Just being able to like surprise you, especially on the first listen. You don't know where he's gonna take it. The song, it can go in any direction, but. At least personally, like I trust him that whatever I'm going to listen to is going to work.
Yeah.
So I definitely love that. And you know, we're talking. You just reacted to "All My Hair Is a Cornballs." It's my favorite album of his. I really love it. You're right. It is more relaxed and, you know, calmer. I love the combinations of like hard instrumentals, hard sounds, and mixing them with like soft vocals, and it's very relaxed, and he's so nice and smooth and sounding. And you're right, in comparison to Veteran, like more high strung, Cornballs is a lot more relaxed.
Yeah, I love it when it drops into that JPEG Mafia style beat. Oh my god, it's just pure chaos, man. And it's out of nowhere. Oh. I mean, everything. It seems like everything's fine, and then just fucking wow, there it is, man. It's amazing.
Yeah, and even then. JPEG Mafia type beat into grimy waifu, I feel is like a great representation. That smooth transition into the next song.
Yeah.
I love it. That's definitely one of my favorite parts of the album. I guess personally my favorite tracks are the softer ones. including like "Free the Frail." I think is a
that's a
fantastic track.
great one.
I love the chorus, the melody of the chorus. The it's real good. And All My Heroes Are Cornballs, the track as well, I feel like is another highlight for me. Another thing that I do like about it, obviously, when it comes to JPEGMAFIA, his titles of his songs are always something I look forward to.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of references to that he makes about living in the digital world, right, and dealing with criticism, i.e., all the trolls that he mentions,
Twitter and all that shit,
spies and Twitters, and people talking shit on Twitter.
Yep.
There was something I wanted to ask you, especially in comparison to me, that I have zero online presence. So I don't have any interaction with trolls at all. I feel like if I were, it would be like in this video, in the comment section.
Yeah, sure, right.
But like, you know how Peggy acts or has his opinion about trolls. Do you like agree with it? That mindset? Would you? Do you feel like you can relate to it?
I used to be an online troll to an extent. Years ago, I used to hang out in the World of Warcraft forums and just talk shit and talk shit and talk shit. And, I don't really remember. Well, most of the time I was at work I was bored. So, when you're bored, okay, there you go. And I do remember an element at that point in my life of, I think I was discovering debate and points and counterpoints, and because I never really got any education in that realm. I remember taking a speech class, and that was kind of cool, but that didn't really get into debate and arguments and logical fallacies and all these different things, right? You almost kind of wander into the philosophy area a little bit, but there is an element of trolling that's interesting. Like I can appreciate good trolls. I like trolls who are actually trying to do something interesting rather than what I consider most trolls just garbage level trolls where they just say the same stupid thing over and over again, and all they do is ignore the topic and just attack people or what. Like, that's just garbage, lazy troll activity. And unfortunately, it's so common. It seems like now that's just commonplace internet interaction to an extent. But the trolls that I like, the ones that are really fun, are the guys that they get people to believe what they're saying, and they almost create this story and get people swept up in it. And then they just go, no. I remember World of Warcraft. This is a very nerdy story, but it's real, and it's still strange to me. But my character at one point had gotten this dagger, whatever, and it was a super rare drop. I didn't know anything about it. I got it just by pure fucking random chance. I happened to be there. I was with some friends, whatever. And back then, each realm had its own forum, and so did a lot of trolling in your realm forum, right? Because you knew the people there. It wasn't as just completely random. There's some familiarity. Word got out that my character got this dagger. People would run up to my character in game and inspect me. It's very strange to me. And maybe it was strange then, not as strange now, but just the idea that a video game character would become not necessarily famous, but known so much so that in a pretend digital world, people would run up to that video game character to inspect the character to see if they had the super magical thing. And so
you were a micro celebrity before even now.
Well,
even back then.
And I promise there's a point to the story, because it was so strange to me, and I enjoyed trolling. So what I did was I cooked up this story about how I accidentally vendored the dagger or something like that. Because I think I had one of 3 total that exists on the server or something like that. So I cooked up this weird story of how I accidentally vendored it. But of course, to troll it correctly and make it a story, I don't say this on the forum a friend tells a friend who then tells somebody. You get the rumor going, and then the rumor posts this stuff up on the internet, and then then I of course have to try and play it down, which then only fuels the fire. Like, to me, that's fun. That's good old fashioned trolling right there, because you're not attacking people, and it turns out to be this whole thing in its own way. You get on Twitter, you don't see that shit on Twitter. Like, it's just a bunch of fucking garbage. It really is. Like, Twitter is awful. I hate Twitter. I only have Twitter because of the channel. That's the only reason why I have Twitter. Now, my experience has been nice in the sense that I get a lot of really nice messages that people send to me, and so that's great. And it's been nice having the YouTube channel and the comment sections there, because the community that follows this channel and the comments that they leave has kind of like helped me. Okay, like, we're not all garbage human beings online. There's actually nice people that exist online, and they do say nice things online. so that's been nice. So to go finally back and answer your question, I mean, I agree with Peggy to an extent. Like, it's really easy to just find garbage human beings on the internet, but there's also nice, amazing people on the internet as well.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I do feel as a active lurker in the Bob's Discord, it is definitely a wholesome place. Not a lot of issues going on there, and it's fun to participate every once in a while.
It is cool, and I do like every now and then. It seems like things are getting off the rails a little bit. But then I'll kind of take a step back, because it maybe in the context of the server, it seems like it's getting a little choppy. But I'll think about all the other things I've seen over the last not several decades, but several years about online, or some of the things people say to each other, and I go, no, we're good. We're good. People are just kind of, they're getting a little heated, but no one's really saying anything crazy. They're just hashing it out a little bit, and then it usually just settles back down again, and everything's fine.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. That's super neat, interesting to know. Yeah, Peggy does have a lot of opinions on trolls, I'm sure, with all his lyrics. But he also has a lot of opinions about everyone and anyone, and I feel like no one is safe from Peggy's opinions about him. He is very liberal in the sense that anyone, he'll attack anyone for any reason. If he has an issue, he'll at least air it out.
Yeah.
And that, in a way, I find that very bold and brave in this digital world. You're saying, like, on Twitter, it's a cesspool, right?
It really is.
Be able to have the bravery to say what you want about anyone is interesting. It definitely is. It's funny because I feel like Peggy has like an insult for every form of person. Like, I know I could find a lyric that like I can reference to or point to myself at. It's funny you mentioned you like Tool, because I can vividly remember him dropping a line about white kids who love Tool. So if I find it, I'll share it. It's
I don't recall that line, so I must not have heard that song yet.
No, yeah, it's from
It's off LP?
a previous album. Yes.
Okay.
Communist Slow Jams.
Oh, okay.
Has a lot of just name drops, nonstop. Every single person he has an issue with, he is willing to air it out. So it's, and what, I'll at least give you the top of mind stuff. Like, I'll send it.
Oh, okay.
But even just the track names, everything is great. He is very liberal when it comes to letting his opinion be known.
I really do. I have like this secret love affair with JPEGMAFIA and everything he does on Twitter, because you're right. He just does not give a fuck. He does not care at all. If Twitter came along tomorrow and said you're banned, he'd be like, fine. I don't even care. And it's so great. And it, especially like now recently, where there's been so much like anger over, Twitter and free speech and what the platform is and what it does and who it punishes and who it allows to flourish. And I just like, I can listen to a lot of these arguments and I go, okay, I see where you're coming from. And I even agree to an extent, this and that. But in the back of my mind, I just keep thinking, but it's fucking Twitter. Like, Twitter sucks. And how can something that sucks so bad be so important to so many people. Like, it just blows me away. It blows me away.
Yeah, definitely. Another reason why I stay off Twitter, and I prefer being a private person from, like, I keep my internet presence separate than my personal life.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess kind of from my own personal perspective, it seems that that's kind of not as popular in this day and age. People love to be very vocal online. So it's just very interesting about where things are going to be leading.
You know, what scares me is, like, you look further down the road and you start thinking about things like Elon's neural implant or, you know, what phones are becoming in everyday life and how much we use them and how much we rely on them for certain things and how it seems like that reliance is growing. And what worries me is this idea of, what if we get to a point where we can't disconnect, where we literally cannot, like, if you disconnect, you essentially sever yourself from society, type of a thing. And I hate that idea, because even though I have an online presence, I don't do things on my phone. Like, I use my phone for texting with friends and, you know, Google Maps and Tidal. That's basically it. When I'm away from my computer, I'm not on YouTube. I'm not on Twitter. I don't do any of that shit on my phone. So I do leave, which is nice. The idea of not being able to leave is, like, absolutely terrifying to me.
Yeah, definitely. I wonder how things are going to happen. It only can increase, it feels like, right?
It's going that way. Yeah, it's going that way.
So I will try to continue to be an observationist when it comes to that. You know, let them do their thing. I'm here to watch. Yeah, there was something else. Oh, I guess, like, on the topic. First, I want to say congratulations for your 1 year in your hip hop journey.
Thanks, man.
And I did watch your video about your top tracks that you have listened to so far. But to add to the fact that there was more than 10 songs on your top 10, I'm pretty sure I can recall 0 JPEGMAFIA tracks.
Yep.
On the top 10.
Yep.
Even though you did quote that Veteran was one of your most favorite listening experiences.
Yep.
So I kind of wanted to see if you could elaborate on that juxtaposition.
I think what you really want to say is, what the fuck's that about, Bob?
That's my nice way of saying it.
Well, I'm not going to give anything away. I'll drop a little hint, but Peggy gets a little bit of redemption when it comes to my top 10 albums, because that's coming soon. That might happen this weekend. I've got my list pretty well settled for my top 10 albums. You know, with Peggy, Thug Tears was in that mix. Rainbow Six. Rainbow Six, man, that song just blows me away. That was in the mix. What was the one? Not Grimy Waifu. Frail.
You liked Keenan versus Kel, the second half of that, and your initial reaction.
And then it drops in the JPEG or the JPEG Mafia type beat. No, the thing with his tracks, and Aphex Twin does this, Mad Villainy does this. What I like so much about the albums is they're a body. Like, I think I said this on the Veteran reaction, or maybe it wasn't the reaction, maybe it was the additional thoughts. But, like, yeah, each song is great in what it's doing, but it's weird. Like, if you take it out of the body, it ceases to function, you know? And I think I said something about how if you take blood out and then set blood to the side and go, okay, be blood, it goes, well, I can't do that. I need to be in the body to be blood. And that's I get that from JPEG all the time. Like, there's just this weave that links all these songs together. And I have a playlist with a couple JPEG tracks in it, but for the most part, I enjoy just JPEG Mafia tracks together. It's almost like like a body or a family or something like that. They all got to go together. That's how I feel.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I personally disagree. I do feel like the tracks, especially some of them, can stand on its own. You're right that especially with the ones you mentioned that you liked a lot. I do feel like they are appreciated more within the album. But I want to talk about songs off the LP, but I really shouldn't spoil it.
Yeah, I haven't heard it yet. Haven't heard it yet.
But there really is a lot of music that he has dropped that I'm just a big fan of.
Yeah.
And I guess some of that too is like a lot of the single songs, or a good single song in my opinion is one that's like a banger, you know, some high energy.
Yeah.
Where like on its own it can stand on its own. But with the way that Peggy kind of orchestrates his sound, you're right. Like it definitely is better within the context of the album and what it's trying to do.
The thing that always gets me is, especially as I listen to an album more and more, you know, it's the way he edits his tracks or he cuts his tracks. Because most songs on albums, they come to an end, and then you just get that little brief gap of space, right? That little pause before the next song starts. But with Peggy, you know, Whole Lotta Red did this as well. The song just stops, and then you're right into the next one. And so these short little songs just become one song. And I listened to another band. I don't know if you're familiar with Rush. Rush does these long, they're a classic rock band. You know, they had a lot of stuff in the 70s and 80s and stuff. And they played for decades. But they've got this one album called 2112. And the first 20 minutes is one song. But when you look at the track listing, it's broken up into chapters. So this whole song is its own story. And in that one track, yeah, it stops and it starts out fast and it slows down and then it does this and then it does that. And it tells this whole story in one track. And that's how I feel about basically Peggy stuff is, yeah, it's an album and there's individual tracks, but they're all just one piece together.
Yeah.
And so, to actually express the point I was trying to make here, what happens with me is if I take one song out and I go, okay, I'm going to put this on a playlist. When that song comes up and I listen to it and it gets to the end, I want to hear the song after that. But then it jumps to the other song on my playlist and my brain's like, no, that's not how it works. We need the other song. And sometimes I'll do that in playlists where I'll put like 2 or 3 songs from an album in a row because they're just so tied together. I can't separate them.
That's actually, you know what? That's a great idea.
Oh yeah, I love it.
Yeah. Do you have like a 3-track run list of Peggy's that like you just adore, or anything that comes off the top of your head where like that run of track music is
the first one
good?
That comes to my mind is there's Anthrax album called The Persistence of Time, and shit, the tracks are Intro to Reality, Belly of the Beast, and Got the Time. Because the Intro to Reality is like this instrumental and it's really cool and it picks up. But the way they cut the track, it basically, the closing beat is the start of the next song. So those 2 songs really are one song. And then the way Belly of the Beast ends and it drops into Got the Time, it's the same thing. Like I have to hear all 3 of those songs in a row. I have to. Tool has a track called Parable and Parabola, and they're built together even though they're 2 different tracks. As far as Peggy, God, I'd have to pull it up and look, but I can't think of like a 3 or 4 track run off the top of my head. I do like really the opening of Cornballs is so great. Probably those first 3 tracks, because especially when it finally drops into JPEGMAFIA style beat. But then then it just keeps going, like you're saying with Grimy Waifu and stuff. And that's the thing with Peggy, it just keeps going. It just keeps going.
Yeah, you're right.
I love
I
it.
just want to keep listening more.
Yeah.
So you were talking about pulling up the track, and I did want to note a neat little thing that I learned not too recently, it was recently.
Yeah.
I didn't realize on all of Peggy's albums, or at least most of them, there's like a little black mouse just chilling there.
Oh no shit! Like on the covers?
Yeah, on the cover.
Really?
Nearly every cover is his. Even on like EP and LP, there's just a black mouse, which kind of goes into the digitalization thing. I was gonna segue it with my notes, but even just that little tidbit, I'm like, wow, why didn't I even realize that?
Where is it on Veteran?
It's on like the white part of the It's there. I know it's on better. Let me look now.
I don't see it on the white part. That's crazy. I'm gonna have to look for it all over the place
Oh,
now.
no, you know what? It's like above his head, on the gray wall behind him, top right of the album cover.
I don't see it. Oh, you mean like the mouse cursor?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
I thought you meant like a mouse. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I see that.
actual
Yeah,
mouse.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
a mouse cursor.
Yeah, yeah. No, he's the
So
best. He's the best.
yeah, he keeps in touch with, I don't know, this kind of digital. I don't want to say aesthetic, but I guess it's another thing too. Since you're very interested in listening to LP, and I remember you talking about your transition to Tidal, I think, where you want to support artists. JPEGMAFIA is a fan of just putting his music on Bandcamp, where it's like pay what you want.
Oh yeah,
Direct proceeds, and as well as LP, you know, with his like online and offline version. I'm pretty sure it's the offline version, which is like the
nice
intended way to listen to. So that's just another thing for that.
I keep forgetting about Bandcamp. I used to use Bandcamp quite a bit before I got onto Spotify and Tidal because that's where I would get all of my ambient music from, was Bandcamp.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I use Bandcamp for like local indie rock bands
Oh,
to
yeah,
like
there you
support them. I haven't used it in a long time.
Yeah, I haven't either. And it kills me because I feel like I'm just handing over money to these streaming services and it's not getting to the people who I want it to get to.
Yeah.
I need to get back on Bandcamp. I need to, because I have an account. It's just sitting there. And they even let you down. And actually, you know what? That's what it was. The reason why I stopped using it wasn't so much because of the streaming stuff, but because of the streaming stuff, I stopped downloading MP3s because I used to have all these MP3s. And then I stopped using Winamp. I used Winamp forever. I don't know if you're familiar with Winamp. It's one of like the classic MP3 players. And it was always, I felt the best one because it was always the most basic. Like it was literally just a little interface with the play buttons. And you could get different skins for it and stuff if you wanted. But it was very straightforward. And so it wasn't a load on your computer. So when you had this old crappy computer, you could at least play music and it wouldn't like, load it down. But since I stopped downloading the MP3s and stopped making the playlists, that's when I stopped going to Bandcamp because Bandcamp would let you download the music, which was great once you bought it.
Yeah. Yeah, Bandcamp, I definitely should get back to listening on it. It back then it was a fun way to find like people in my area, and like startup musicians. But even then, like when it came to that, I guess my avenue was into SoundCloud, because then it was just all about like dumping your music on SoundCloud, just like having people listening to it and letting those numbers go up, which I guess kind of transitioned into how we consume it now with all these streaming services.
Yeah.
Personally, I have used Spotify before, before I canceled it because I figured. I had YouTube Premium at the time, and YouTube Music comes with that, and that's like too good of a deal to pass up.
Yeah.
Plus, it was easier to find unreleased music on YouTube Music.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I'm a big Playboi Carti fan. There's a lot of snippets that I can't listen to on Spotify that I love listening to on YouTube Music.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's crazy how I guess streaming services is kind of the new norm. I don't know where it goes from here. Like we were talking about earlier, like that the avenue of where music has gone.
Yeah.
But like, where does it go from here, right? Like, how more convenient can it get?
That's a good question. Because I don't know. I mean, it does seem like a bit of a peak in terms of that. It would be cool. I think to me, the ideal streaming service platform would be a mix between something like Spotify and Bandcamp, where, okay, everything exists, you can listen to it, maybe you pay the platform, $5 a month or something like that, or $3 a month, like, because they got to make their money, obviously, they got to, pay their costs, but it would be cool to have a streaming service that was the payment that you made to them was literally just to cover their costs and that was it. But then there was also a way for you to donate money to an artist on that app, through that app. You know, I think that'd be really cool, like a mix between Bandcamp because then it's like, yeah, I'm listening to this album for free from JPEG because it's on the streaming thing, but I like it, so I'm gonna kick them a couple bucks, you know, and it just straight goes to the artist. I think that'd be great.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting you brought that up. I was watching a Peggy interview recently, and he was a big fan of just letting people like pay what they want, right?
Yeah.
He said,
right.
Even if you're going out of your way to listen to my music, like that's enough. Like,
yeah.
Well,
and it'd be cool to see like these streaming apps incorporate some sort of, and maybe they do. I honestly haven't looked, but to have them incorporate some sort of link to their merch so that you could just buy a shirt from them or something like that if you want to. Just something that lets you literally support that artist in some way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, and even now, like I don't know how it was back then, and my knowledge only comes from the headlines and news. But like from what I've read, musicians make very little from the actual music being played and try to cover their costs by going on tour and selling merch, right? Mm-hmm. Like they don't make much money from making music. It's the extras that kind of come with it.
Yeah, and it does depend on the group and the record label and the contracts that they're under and stuff like that. Because some groups did make just a shit ton of money from selling millions and millions and millions of albums. Yeah. But you're right, predominantly they make their money on tour. I still remember watching some, I don't know if you remember VH1. It was a music channel that was kind of like the rival to MTV.
Yeah, it's a foggy memory in my brain.
Yeah, they had these episodes called Behind the Music, and it was basically just a documentary into an artist. And I remember watching the one about TLC, who was huge back in the 90s, and they were broke. And it's like, how the hell does this work? How the hell does this group who has a song, Don't Go Chasing Waterfalls, I hear every fucking day. I don't even listen to that channel, but I hear that song all the time. And all the high school girls I know are just huge fans of like everybody loves TLC. TLC is world famous, whatever, and they're broke. How in the hell is that even possible? And it's just because of the way the record label wrote their contract and how they got paid and splitting it 3 ways and all this other stuff. They basically had no money. And it's just crazy, man.
Yeah. Funny you mentioned TLC since there's a track off of Cornballs in which Peggy interpolates an entire song's worth of
Scrubs,
music.
Yeah. I remember getting to those lyrics and I'm like, this is the TLC song. And I'm like, is he just making fun of it? No, this is just a cover of that song.
And hey, that's a great reason why I love him. Having that softer side. On Cornballs, there's definitely like more. He's more feminine in a way, like talking about all the dresses he wears. You don't want to get capped by anyone in a gown. He's dressing her grandma's clothes. Even the cover, it's very bold of him to even kind of. It's great. It's very inspiring, like how he wears it on his chest.
And he's just so free. He's so free, I feel like. And I mean, obviously I don't know the guy very well, but I really, really admire, respect that in him, and that he's just like, no, I'm going to do whatever I want to do. And that's it. And I feel like I hope that it does inspire people. Like you said, it inspires you. I hope people are inspired by that, because I feel like there are people out there that they're struggling with, who they are and who they're supposed to be and how they fit in the world. And there's all these distractions and all these people to look up to and think, oh, okay, I'll try to be like them. But you can't be like them. You can't be like anyone. All you can do is just be you. And it's nice to have people like Peggy who just fucking own the idea of being you. I love that.
Yeah, definitely. It's very easy to be fake online.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know. It's just something in the way that he presents his music, his persona, and everything around it, where like I know he's being genuine. I can tell, I can feel it, and that's that's bold, that's brave, I really respect that.
And what's really cool too is it's so bold and so brave that it's not, in the sense that he isn't doing it to be brave. He isn't doing it to be bold. He's just so comfortable with who he is. At least this is the impression I get. Again, I don't know him, so I shouldn't like speak for him or whatever. But I think about things like, you know, being brave, and I always, I don't know, maybe it's my own twisted perception of what it is, but you know, it feels like to do something that's brave is to make an active decision to face this thing, and okay, I got to overcome my fear. But when you have no fear, you can't be brave, but you're still doing the thing that is brave. But you're not brave because there's no fear involved. You're just doing the thing regardless of how much fear you have or don't have or whatever. And I feel like, you know, every now and then you hear about how there's these you know, idea spectrums where if you get so far to one side, like you come back over to the other side. And I feel like Peggy exists in that way where he's just so, there's so much give a fuck that he does seem like he's the bravest person on the planet, but he's not. He just doesn't care.
You're right. Yeah, he's definitely right. He makes it clear his opinions on anyone and everyone, no holds barred. And your track record with him hosting your initial reaction to Veteran, I'm sure.
Yeah.
That even us having the conversation might be caught in the crossfire, you know? And I'm okay with that, you know?
I am too. The thing what makes me really respect him the most is he said this before too in a couple of interviews that I've seen, where he definitely is able to identify someone's energy, and he can tell if, you know, someone's, like you were saying, if someone's being genuine or not. And I like that because, you know, if he hears this conversation or hears us talking about whatever, you know, he might have a tendency or a desire to make fun of it, but he probably also just enjoys the fact that we enjoy his music. We like what he's doing. You know, we hope he does more. And so, yeah, even if he did, I don't know, do something or say something, I would take it in good spirits because I'd feel like it would just be Peggy fucking with me, not like trying to call us out, you know?
Yeah, that's for sure. Man. Yeah, I guess another thing, man, I don't want to bring up LP especially because it just came out. But there is a bar that I thought was interesting that I wanted your opinion of.
Okay.
Where he says the bar is so low for weird shit, he had to stop sharing. So, like you're just saying, like you've mentioned multiple times that Peggy. You mentioned the interview that you watched where he says he's like tired of hip hop and especially, I don't know, when it comes to other artists, in order to get noticed in today's age, you have to do something weird or like be a meme or try to catch virality in some sort of way. Which and some of these people, and don't get me wrong, like that in and of itself is a hustle, and I respect it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, but like everyone's trying to do the next weird thing because it gets paid. You know, people who are able to point at themselves and laugh or like do something unique in a weird way in order to be noticed with all this noise that comes with the internet and having everything at an instant in order to stand out like that. So
I feel like there's no longevity in that though, you know, and I feel like Peggy, I wonder, I haven't listened to what was, you said Communist Slow Jams, that was like prior to Veteran, right? Yeah. You know, I don't know about how he kind of like came up in the rap scene and stuff like that. I remember him talking about how, you know, when Veteran hit and it did really well, and he was just kind of doing this weird shit. And I don't even want to try to quote him because I don't remember exactly what he said. And so he just went with that more. I don't feel like he did Veteran to try and be, you know, unique or to just, you know, pop out or go viral or anything like that. Like, I feel like Veteran was just him being him and just saying, fuck it, I'm just going to do what I want to do. I'm so bored with hip hop. I'm so whatever. And, you know, so he just, as long as he just keeps being him and just keeps doing what he's doing and doing what he's interested in, I think I think that's how you kind of get some longevity, and that's how you build a fan base and you gain all this momentum. I feel like the people who try and go the other way of, oh, if I can just make it big and get that attention and be in the spotlight, yeah, that'll happen. And then as fast as it happened, it'll go away, you know? So I like what Peggy's doing because it seems like it's much more of just an artistic expression. And because of that, and because he's just doing what he wants to do, it is unique because it is him. Nobody else can do that like he does, even though other people can make, you know, other shit that might sound weird. But that's the long game, and that's how I feel like he's going to just stay around for a long ass time because of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. I'm so excited about him and Danny Brown working together. I think that's going to be amazing.
Oh, I have as well. I'm on that. There's, I don't know if you've heard their unreleased track that made it to a radio station once.
Oh, no.
Really good. So if it sounds anything like that track, I am all for it.
Yeah. I gotta get Atrocity Exhibition and LP in before that project drops so I can hear it the day it comes out.
I know. It'd be great. Yeah, I was going to say, when is that coming up? Atrocity Exhibition.
I don't know. It's in the marble racing, so we'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah, but the one thing with the marble racing and helping to pick albums and stuff like that, even the stuff that, you know, if it doesn't win, there's certain albums that are just sitting way, way, way up top. Eyez one of them. House of Balloons is one of them. Low End Theory is one of them. There's a couple others too. Oh, Because the Internet. So there's a couple others that are really sitting up high, regardless of what the racing outcome is going to be. But I
could pitch my own recommendation just so it's on your top of mind.
Sure.
I've been looking forward to the ATLiens by Outkast.
That's tomorrow. I'm doing that one tomorrow, man.
Oh, really? I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm excited.
Oh, man. I'm excited for you.
Yeah, I can't wait.
It's
man.
great.
Yeah, in Discord, they're talking about how, hey, Bob, Drake's dropping an album tonight. You're going to do that instead? No. I'm doing ATLiens, man.
Oh, man. Man, I hope it's good. Yeah, this is my well wishes for that.
Oh, I'm excited.
First impressions.
I'm excited. Yeah. Oh,
cool.
we hit that awkward pause moment right there.
Yeah. I'm actually surprised it took this long to get to that awkward pause moment.
Yeah. Usually, you know, I've been surprised overall that it hasn't really happened that often in these episodes because it is fairly common in a conversation for just somehow, some way. Yeah, the conversation just finds a spot where it goes, oh, we found the end, you know, and then you have to stir it up again and get going. But, you know, in talking with people I've never met before, obviously it makes it a little bit harder to kind of keep a flow going sometimes. But for the most part, these tend to naturally roll pretty well. And I'm looking at the clock, like we're already 53 minutes in. We've already almost burnt our hour, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, definitely. I guess we could... let's see if there's anything else that.
I know you took some notes.
So prepared.
If there's anything else, that's why I was laughing earlier when you said, "Oh, I brought notes." I was like, "Well, that's nice," because it always goes off the rails.
So one of the things that I can relate with JPEGMAFIA, I guess personally, as someone that grew up with all this internet access. And growing up in the digital age, the way that he kind of incorporates that into his music, and like the glitch hop sense, but also like the way he samples things, his sounds, the I guess glitchy noises in general, is very astounding and something that I can relate with. But I guess a big portion of Peggy's life is the fact that he is a veteran, and that is something that you have in common with, and I was just wondering if it's okay if there's any sort of like, I don't know, anything you can relate with when it comes to his sounds or certain bars where like only people in the military could get, or anything that just comes to mind in that aspect.
I don't remember specifically where in Veteran, but there's a couple times in Veteran, and I may have said it in the reaction, I don't remember, it's been a while since I've done that one, but there were a couple times in the album where I remember going, God, this feels like he's bitching about the military right here. And honestly, that's one of the things I need to try reaching out to him more. I've only reached out like once or twice, but I want to have him on here like this with you and I And I just want to talk about how much we did not enjoy the military for a while and just bitch about the military. I think that'd be fucking fun, man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But that was one of the senses I got, because for me the military was a very frustrating, annoying experience. And Veteran, JPEGMAFIA did a good job of kind of slipping some of those sensations in, of being frustrated and annoyed, and just there's all these external things that are pissing me off and I can't do anything about them. And so I'm just kind of like turn it into a cooker pressure, where I'm just like boiling inside, but I can't vent out because of all this shit around me.
Yeah, and definitely, I definitely can relate to that, especially when it comes to Veteran. Like, I definitely feel the frustration that comes with being a part of like the digital culture that comes with, I don't know, being online. Like my thoughts of NeoGAF dying, like just a website, right? Like,
I don't
having
care.
an opinion
I
on
don't
that.
care. I don't care.
So, yeah, you're right. Just the fact that, you know, all this tension and frustration, and like it's tough to let it out, you know. And even when you were talking about the whole premise of the album being kind of like about anxiety and that like cycle where it starts, you know, great, you're pumping, and things get quiet, and that's when you hear the anxious noises.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Even at the end, like even though you're pumping, he's still going hard. It's still kind of there and still cycling. I thought that was a great perspective. I never really thought of it like that.
Well, I'm so glad that people told me you got to get headphones, you know, because I don't know if I would have really had that sensation if it were from speakers, because they're off. You know, I would have heard the sound, but the way he engineered those sounds and having headphones on and having the volume up, it just felt like he was right in my fucking ear, like right there, doing these weird clicks and pops. And it's like, now I feel it. I can feel what he's trying to do. And I think that's another thing about his music that's so great, in the sense of, I think he's making these sounds to fuck with us and try and push some emotion in there, make us feel a certain thing. Or, like I was saying the other, where you get so far on one side, you come around there, or he's just fucking around completely. Like, maybe it means nothing at all. I don't know. I feel like it has to be intentional, but it's possible. He's just like, this sounds weird and I like it, and I'm just going to put it out there. Done.
Yeah. Hey, you're even right. Like, I remember in an interview, I can't remember where people were asking about his track titles, and he mentions, like, I don't give a fuck about them. They mean whatever they want to mean. So it's kind of, you're right, like a Schrodinger's box of whether, does he care? Does it matter or not? Or is it just fucking around?
Yeah. And the other thing, did you ever see the one, I don't know the girl's name. There's like this little girl that he did this interview with, was it a girl?
I'm not sure. Maybe I
like
might have
7-year-old, 8-year-old girl, right? And she's,
really?
Yeah, and she's asking him questions and stuff. It was cool. It was cool. It was really neat to just see him sit there and smile and enjoy it. And he really did seem to enjoy it. But she asked him, I don't remember exactly what the question was, but the essence of the question was, you know, more or less, how people interpret your albums, and, you know, are they doing it correct? Like, are they getting your ideas right, or something along those lines? And he basically said, look, whatever people take from it's fine. Like, they can get whatever they want from it. That I don't care. I just want people to enjoy it. And that's what I really like too, is he can put into it whatever he wants. And I talked about this during my Life of Pablo additional thoughts, about how on the creative process, it belongs to the artist. You know, so when he's creating and he's mixing and he's doing all the shit, that is 100% his, and it's his until he lets it go. But then what I love the most is that when he lets it go, he goes, okay, it's everybody else's now. And whatever experience they have with it, that's their experience, and that's fucking cool. And that's it. And I love that.
Yeah, that's my favorite track off of Cornballs. Free the Frail is all about that. Yeah. You know, like, if it's good, then it's fine.
Yeah, that's right.
It's out of his hands.
Yeah. No, it's great. It's great. And to me, that's so key for anybody who's trying to create something. Because I think we, especially as a society, you know, when you hear all these motivational talks and, you know, all the stories about the people who made it and whatever, there's so much focus on like the rising up or the creating of the thing and all the work that it went into it and blah, blah, blah. And like, yeah, that's important. You got to make a thing, whatever it is, art, apps, whatever the fuck it is, it's got to be good. But then when you're done with it, you got to let it go. And I feel like that's the one part we don't really focus on in our society, is letting it go and letting it be, because it's always like this perpetual hustle. Got to keep going, and you got to make it bigger and better and stronger and more money and faster and more fame. And it's just like fucking ridiculous, man. Just let it go. Let it go.
And even like, I hate to bring up Twitter again, but like everyone has your receipts all the time.
Oh, God.
Like, it's tough to let things go when others won't, you know? So to be able to say that and like, I know it's genuine, like, to live that is inspiring, especially like.
Yeah, that's very cool. Very cool. Fucking Peggy's the best, man. I gotta get him on. I gotta be able to talk to him in person like this, man. I think it'd just be fucking great. It would be so much fun.
I figure of all the artists that you've listened to, Peggy might be your best shot.
I think so too. I feel the same way.
So hopefully, maybe this time we'll get actual links to the stream. I feel like, right?
Oh my God. That was my favorite. Just being drunk and trying to get him to join the stream and never ever linking the stream. That was amazing. That was a lot of fun. All right, man. Well, we're at an hour and 1 minute. So, any closing thoughts you want to toss out here?
No, actually, I want to thank you. It was an honor to be even selected, especially with how long it took. To set this up.
Yeah, I apologize.
You know, initially, like I wanted to let it be, you know, like have it out. But after the reaction, I felt inspired to reach back, and I'm very glad that we could get this done.
Yeah,
I had a lot of fun talking. And like I said before, I don't have the chance to talk about my favorite artist and kind of gush about what I like to other people. So to be able to like speak it to someone and hear them listen to what I say, you know, is great.
That is a common theme with these episodes, and I think it's what I enjoyed the most, is this idea of somebody who's like, God damn, I wish I could just talk about music for a little bit with someone who will actually listen, instead of just going, yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, you're doing a great thing, Bob. I really enjoyed hearing everyone's perspective. And you're my side monitor babe. You're always on my side monitor while I'm doing like work and stuff.
Nice. Well, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it, and I appreciate your patience on my failing to get back to you and then finally getting back to you, and this happening. I still have not made any solid efforts in organizing who wants to be on and when they're going to be on. It's the one part of this channel I just don't like doing. I need to just stop being a baby about it and buckle down for 20 minutes and organize some stuff. It's really not that hard to do.
Oh, yeah. Well, hopefully there are no more issues.
Yeah.
Or any road bumps, right?
Yeah. All right, man. We'll tack you on, dude. It was great talking to you. That was fun. That was a fast hour. Man, these hours just get faster and faster every time. Cool. And,
awesome.
What's that?
You have a great night. I hope everything goes well. It was great speaking to you again.
You too,
if you
man.
do get that conversation with Peggy, if you could just at least mention that you had a conversation with a fan, that's enough.
I'll try and make that happen, man.
Okay, awesome. I'm rooting for you.
All right, man. Well, thanks for
good night. Take care. I really appreciate it.
All right.
I'm honored.
All right, man. We'll see ya.
Take care.